I tend to leave other vloggers who have different opinions to me alone because eventually the truth will be known. They are pandering to an audience that wants to believe what they say, and they will accept at face value everything they do say. But I made a video the other day and was faced with an interesting dilemma in the responses. A viewer with a problem. Which source should they believe? And to be honest, it's a fair question. I say Western media lies about China, and this guy's response said it's not just Western media, it's other Chinese vloggers too. This guy, and he showed me who it was, showed lots of homeless people in Chinese cities. Now, I've said several times, there are hardly any homeless people in China. It's hard to know who to trust when this is happening. Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another of my takes on China, and today I'm going to expand on why you need to verify and trust your sources. This isn't about one particular vlogger, but I do wonder if he was taking those videos in or around train stations. These people are not homeless. They're often sleeping in train stations because they're waiting for an early train or just got off a late one. I've been to hundreds of cities in China. It's very rare to see a homeless person, but they do exist. I saw one in January last year in Shenzhen. He had an encampment in a nature reserve by the road that I walked along each day. I haven't seen one since, and that's been 14 months. Big cities often have apparently homeless people living near and around construction sites because it's cheaper than living in the subsidized dormitory. Also, there are no rules. They can come and go as they please, while often the dormitories impose curfews or limitations on guests. They all have a home, they just aren't living in it right now. When their contract finishes or at holiday time, they will head back to their hometown. I actually saw that particular vlogger sometimes uses footage from Hong Kong and Taiwan. He knows his audience won't check, or don't care, and if someone does make a comment about it in the comment section of his videos, strangely, those comments get removed. I know this because I've made them and I've had them removed. I challenged him once when he was actually in California and he'd gone to a Chinatown mall to make a video. It was absolutely clear to anyone who knows China that he was standing in a car park in another country. I challenged him once when he posted videos from Hong Kong several years ago, and it was at that time that I unsubscribed from him because my comment was removed. Actually, both times they were removed. I've lived in China since before he arrived here. I'm still here 5 years after he left. I've cycled around China and I've covered more miles on a bicycle than he's covered on a motorbike. But in doing so, I camped outside and stopped in many tiny villages that he raced through, making rude comments about their poverty levels. I met the people, I engaged with them, I learned about them. Seeing them rise from poverty has been the most exhilarating journey of my lifetime, let alone theirs. But he and his friend criticized and ridiculed them rather than engaged with them. I've traveled through Xinjiang several times, but twice on a bike. I've met with Uyghurs in their homes, in their restaurants, and in their corner shops. I think I can express opinions on that which would have a little more respect, for example, than people who either haven't been to the area, which he hasn't, or people who race through small communities on their way to a larger town with a business hotel whilst making smart comments about how badly they live. That guy's well known in my circle of friends. I actually know several people who know him quite well. He's not honest. He never will be, because he's moved from being a popular vlogger in China to an opportunist who sees money at every turn. I actually used to follow him when he was in Shenzhen. That was a few years ago, doing his walkabouts. He made some comments I agreed with. He made some I disagreed with, but he was rarely telling lies in those days. It's fine. It's quite okay to disagree with each other where opinion is concerned. We have different experiences which lead us to different opinions, and that's fine. But when a person hasn't been in China for about 8 years, I assure you everything about this place has changed, and their opinion is no longer valid. When he was relatively honest on China, his wife was a regular contributor to his show. Now, I've never seen his wife or his sidekick's wife on the show. I wonder why they no longer validate their husband's opinions. I understand it's hard to know who to trust, but if you are in contact with these or any other vloggers and they are conscientious, they should be checking their comments, as I still do every day. Write a reply to them, ask questions about their sources, ask which university they went to. If they never went, then it's likely they were working illegally in China and never had a legitimate residential visa, which might be why some of them left in and around 2016. And that's when the laws were changed. And people teaching and working without those proper credentials, they either had to leave or get credentialed. Most people who came to China in that era did so in one of two ways: proper expat visas with very well-paying jobs, or business visas with teaching jobs, which were reasonably well paid, but not to the degree of an expat. I know of people who earned 10 or 15 times more than me, and I earned double my local colleagues. Most of us needed to do visa runs, and I know that particular vlogger did. He made videos about them. Now, this indicates he was living here on a business visa, requiring him to renew every few months and leave China every 30 or 60 days. The fact that he made videos about it prove that he wasn't here legitimately, which means he never got forced out of China. He was actually illegally working here for many years. Now, don't get me wrong about this. It was common practice. Many people did it, including me. My first job was working on a business visa. It was an accepted practice, but around 2013, news came out that it would soon change. I spoke to my boss about it, and to get a proper visa, I needed to go back to Australia, get my university credentials notarized, accepted by the Chinese consulate, get a new visa, which was issued for 30-day entry to China, and once back in China, that visa, called a Z or a Z visa, was converted into a working and resident permit, and I was legal. But without notarized credentials and a clean police record, I would not have been issued the visa and could not legally have been employed in China. Some people claim to have lived here years before the CPC forced them out. And then we find they come back for a holiday or to sell an apartment. So something must be a lie, mustn't it? Because if you get forced out, you can't come back, not for 10 years. If vloggers cite their sources, then verify them. If they don't, then question them. That's all I ask anyone who doubts me to do. The moment you question me and find me in a lie, you discredit me. Therefore, by asking you to verify my sources, I'm telling you I'm confident that what I say is accurate and truthful. Some vloggers rely heavily on their own imagination, coupled with their audience's desire to hear negative things about a place that they view negatively. And that's okay. It's not real. It's entertainment. They're getting paid for telling stories. They're not informing anyone at anything. It's like reading a book and enjoying the fantasy. You know it's not real. Watch a movie. You know it's not real. What you're getting when you log into watching people like this is that. When you want to know something is right, you get a reference book or you watch a documentary instead of a movie. That's the difference. They don't sell as well. Between a vlogger in California who wants to tell you about China and a social media commentator in China who knows what he's talking about because he's been there and done it, I know I'll never change the minds of people who want to believe what they're told about China. But I will be able to prove to you and people like you who want to learn and verify things that I'm not telling a lie. Critical thinkers will realize that one source offering backup and linking information can be trusted. And one with stories is just that, one with stories. It really is as simple as verification. Check their sources and check their sources, because quite often these people do what's called circular referencing. They source themselves or they reply to somebody else who has the same opinion. I get most of my sources from either Chinese media, Chinese state government, or US departments. That's a useful source to remember. In this one, though, there are no sources. This is just purely me telling you about what I do. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. Please don't forget, like, share, and check the subscribe button. And I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.